Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39 are considered by many Bible scholars to be among the more challenging prophetic passages in Scripture. As a result, there is no single consensus regarding the interpretation of these chapters. Because the prophecy is one of the more debated topics in eschatology, the study of end times, it is important to outline the perspectives we take when interpreting this passage. The figures Gog and Magog appear in two key places in the Bible, Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39 and in Revelation 27-8. It's possible that the specific fulfillment of this prophecy will not be fully understood until the events unfold. Two primary controversies surround this prophecy: the chronological placement of the events and the nature of the battle described. Those who hold the premillennial view believe Ezekiel's prophecy will be fulfilled in a future event before the millennium, a 1,000-year reign of Christ described in Revelation 20. On the other hand, the reference to Gog and Magog in Revelation is considered post-millennial, meaning it occurs after this reign. Alternatively, those who hold the post-millennial view believe that both the references in Ezekiel and Revelation describe the same event at the end of the millennium. Another area of debate among Bible scholars is the nature of the battle, whether it is literal or symbolic. In this analysis, we will take a premillennial and literal view, treating these events as real, physical conflicts with spiritual significance. Although both passages in Ezekiel and Revelation mention Gog and Magog, a careful study shows that they do not refer to the same people or events. In Ezekiel's prophecy, Gog is depicted as the leader of a vast army that launches an attack on a peaceful and unsuspecting Israel. Ezekiel 38, 1-3 identifies Gog as coming from the land of Magog and as the prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal. The timing of this battle has sparked much debate, resulting in two main theories. Theory 1, before the tribulation begins. This theory proposes that the battle of Gog and Magog will take place before the tribulation period, a time of global distress and divine judgment described in the book of Daniel and Revelation. Supporters point to Ezekiel 39, where the aftermath of the battle includes Israel burning the enemy's weapons for 7 years and burying the dead for over 7 months. This extended period suggests that the battle happens when Israel is stable enough to undertake these efforts, which proponents argue is before the tribulation begins. This view also suggests that the battle could occur even before the rapture, the taking up of the church, allowing for the necessary time to manage the aftermath of such a conflict without overlapping with the tribulation's chaos. Theory 2, during the first half of the tribulation. This theory argues that the battle takes place during the first half of the 7-year tribulation period. This perspective relies on the context that Israel is described as dwelling in peace and security when attacked by Gog. The peace enjoyed by Israel is thought to result from a covenant made with the Antichrist, as prophesied in Daniel 9:27. According to this view, the covenant brings temporary peace, making Israel unsuspecting of an attack. This fits within the tribulation's larger narrative, where an initial peace is followed by sudden destruction. Ezekiel 38, 14-23 outlines the events of this dramatic battle. Therefore, Son of Man, prophesy, and say to Gog, this is what the sovereign Lord says. In that day, when my people Israel are living in safety, will you not take notice of it? You will come from your place in the far north, you and many nations with you, all of them riding on horses, a great horde, a mighty army. You will advance against my people, Israel, like a cloud that covers the land. In days to come, Gog, I will bring you against my land, so that the nations may know me when I am proved holy through you before their eyes. When Gog invades Israel with a massive army from the north, God's fury will be ignited, leading to a great earthquake that will shake the land. Mountains will fall, walls will crumble, and God will bring chaos upon the invaders, causing infighting among their ranks. Following this, a series of divine judgments will occur: plagues, bloodshed, torrential rain, hailstones, fire, and brimstone. God declares, thus will I magnify myself and sanctify myself, and I will be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am the Lord. Ezekiel 38:23. The aftermath described in Ezekiel is extensive. Israel will spends 7 months burying the dead and 7 years burning the enemy's weapons. The lengthy burial period signifies the magnitude of the casualties, while the extended burning of weapons demonstrates the vast size of the invading forces and the thoroughness of Israel's recovery efforts. Now let's turn to Revelation, where Gog and Magog are mentioned again, but in a different context. Revelation 20:7-10 states, "When the 1,000 years are over, Satan will be released from his prison and will go out to deceive the nations in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, and to gather them for battle. In number they are like the sand on the seashore. They marched across the breadth of the earth and surrounded the camp of God's people, the city he loves. But fire came down from heaven and devoured them, and the devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur, where the beast and the false prophet had been thrown. They will be tormented day and night, forever and ever." This battle takes place at the end of the millennium, a 1,000-year reign of Christ characterized by peace and righteousness. After this period, Satan is released, deceiving the nations, symbolically referred to as Gog and Magog, and rallying them for a final assault against God's people in Jerusalem. The result is immediate and decisive. God sends fire from heaven to consume the attacking forces, and Satan is cast into the lake of fire, marking the end of his influence. Several key differences distinguish the battle in Ezekiel from the one in Revelation. Timing: Ezekiel's battle takes place before or during the tribulation, while the battle in Revelation occurs after the 1,000-year reign of Christ. This marks the final rebellion against God before the creation of a new heaven and earth. Participants: Ezekiel describes a northern coalition led by Gog attacking Israel, whereas in Revelation the rebellion is global, involving nations from all directions. Satan's role: in Revelation, Satan plays a central role as the instigator of the battle, released to deceive the nations. This contrasts with Ezekiel, where no explicit mention is made of Satan, and the battle appears to be motivated by Gog's greed or political ambition. Aftermath: the aftermath in Ezekiel includes burying the dead for 7 months and burning weapons for 7 years. In Revelation, there is no mention of such an aftermath, as the fire from heaven immediately consumes the enemies, leading directly to the great white throne judgment. While both passages mention Gog and Magog, they refer to different events. Ezekiel's prophecy likely describes a conflict either before or during the tribulation period, with a focus on Israel's restoration and God's glory being revealed through divine intervention. The Revelation account points to a final rebellion after the millennium, culminating in the ultimate defeat of Satan and the establishment of a new heaven and earth. Understanding these distinctions helps clarify the prophetic timeline and emphasizes God's sovereignty throughout history. Each event underscores God's redemptive plan, revealing his power and victory over evil across different ages. Praise be to God, who reigns sovereign over all creation, over kings, presidents, and nations. His authority is unparalleled, his power unmatched, and his wisdom beyond comprehension. When evil men rise up to defy him, their plans crumble before his might. God is the supreme ruler over world events, life, and death, directing all things according to his divine will. God is sovereign over every aspect of our lives, from the opening and closing of the womb to the rise and fall of nations. He governs the natural world, controls the weather, and orchestrates time. His sovereignty over the church means that he builds, equips, and sustains his body of believers for his mission. And most importantly, God's sovereignty over salvation brings assurance that he calls people to himself, transforms hearts, and grants the gift of faith through the sacrifice of his Son, Jesus Christ. In a world often marked by chaos and uncertainty, God's sovereignty is a source of profound comfort. We can rest knowing that God's power is not used to dominate, but to save, and his plans are perfect and his purposes